Hall of Fame, here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Fame. I got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. As always, coming to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. And guys, I told you I had a very, very special guest here inside the Hall of Fame with me. Hey, a fellow 2-time Hall of Famer as well. Give it up for my man, the Nature Boy, Rick Flair. Hey, man, what's going on, dog? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you, man? Just following you around.
Man, I want to thank you for giving me some time, man, more than anything. Man,
No
you
problem.
are in the news today more than you have ever been, I think, Rick.
I know.
You
And
been-
more, and 90% of it on a positive note.
Nice change of pace.
Man,
Yeah, thank you.
That's what's crazy. You know, as far as today's wrestling, man. I mean, you've been in this deal for over 50 years, man.
Yeah.
Give me your outlook, man. Your outlook on the business from the beginning, a little bit, and to now, in the changes, perhaps.
Well, the biggest change, I mean, it's one word. The biggest change is, well, right now, it changed a lot in the last 10 years, but the biggest change from when I started was marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I started out, I was driving 3,000 miles a week. I think Book did some of that too, right? And $50 a night.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Vince came around and said, "Why don't we just?" I mean, it's even when, and I run the WCW Book, they didn't have a clue how to do marketing. I mean, there's millions of dollars left on the table that Vince is making now, or the WWF is making now, on us. That if WCW had a clue, the only guy that had any marketing was getting all the merchandise, and a cut of everybody else's merchandise was Hulk.
Yeah, he got a piece of mind.
Yeah, everything. You know, yeah, I look back at it now and say, how smart was he? Yeah. But he learned all that from Vince. I mean, Hulk's a smart guy too, but I mean, that's all came from Vince.
Right.
If Vince gets a small part of everything we get now, what's the difference?
Yeah. But you talk about the marketing. I had a chance, man, you know, just look on your Twitter account for a second, Rick. And I was just looking at some of the marketing ploys that you applied, you know, coming up through your days. When I watch you, Rick, I mean, even when I was a youngster watching you before I ever got into wrestling, you made me feel a certain way. You know, I didn't like this guy. This guy, you know, he seemed like he was better than everybody else. And I would have junked your dog to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Back in the Mid-South, coming through here and whatnot. But you made me feel a certain way. And when I was watching a lot of your clips, man, you really knew how to make the fans feel a certain way. And I think that was a huge marketing ploy back in the day for the professional wrestler, because we didn't have Twitter. We didn't have Instagram.
No, I know.
Media outlets that they have. Talk to me about that part of the business.
Well, much to my dismay, not now because I look at it, but basically everything I said I was doing. Actually, 99% of what I said I was doing. So it wasn't hard. I was really having fun. And once I got on a roll, I mean, I obviously, and this is not an embellishment, because Book has known me forever. I spent more money on clothes than I made. Thank God for credit cards. I mean, I tried to wear, you know, like I'm a big fan of First Take.
Yeah.
So I like Stephen A. Right, huge, and we're good friends. But what he spends on clothes of the year reminds me about me. I mean, I just tried to have a different suit every week for TV. He has something different on every damn day. I mean, but it stands out. I mean, it just does. I mean, when Book walks in all tricked out, man. And Book is one of these guys with that great physique. He doesn't have to do that. But when you got I mean, I as far as me being, I was physically gifted in terms of being healthy, but I was no Adonis by any means, right? So I just played off the strengths of what I knew I was good at. And people didn't like me bragging about my clothes. They didn't like me bragging about my cars. And most of all, they didn't like me bragging about my women. And that ain't a work.
That's
No,
the
yeah, but to follow what Book said, there are more kids right now making money because of their social media than their talent. It's absolute insanity. I mean, social media can make or break anybody.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they got kids now making millions of dollars that couldn't even walk in a goddamn ring with me in Book. I swear to God,
No,
they couldn't wrestle 30 minutes if they had to, much less. I mean, or much less, every day. Does that make sense? Not
yeah.
not every other day, every day.
But think about the ones that just think about the ones that could manage the two. Because I
Yeah,
think about social media and I say it's the best thing in the world, and I
yeah.
think it's the worst thing in the world at the same time, especially from our business perspective. But I say the kid, like a MJF, I mean, he's been able to manage still being a heel,
Mhm.
still being, vilified throughout this social media world. And I just want to give him a little props there just because he's
Well, I'm a big fan too.
yeah, because he's been different.
Yeah.
He's unique. One thing about you, Rick, I remember, man, this is I call it a natureism.
Uh-huh.
Not- I remember.
I've heard that before.
Yes, I'm serious. I remember back in the day, man. It was such a man thing. It was such a grown up thing. It was an adult thing. I remember you cutting a promo one night, in WCW, and you said, after, I can't remember who you was working or what you were doing that night, but you said after it's all over with, I'm going to Rupert's, and
Yeah.
man, all of the ladies showed up.
Yeah. Roberts.
And I had so much fun. I was just piggybacking. There. And I'm gonna tell you, that's what made wrestling so real and so special back then because
Yeah.
it was as real as. Talk to me
Yeah.
about having that style and being able to bring that to the fold, that realism to professional.
Well, believe it or not, it wasn't a work because I mean, it, I, Marriott should have cut me like a hell of a deal, like Rolex should have a long time ago. But I actually, there was a time in which Book and I both experienced, thank God, when it wasn't a guy's soap opera. I mean, when we were the Beatles, man. We pull up, and when I would say like when we had that Crockett Cup, and this was before Book, but with that Crockett Cup when I was wrestling in Wyndham in those hour matches and that, and I'd say we'd be next door at the Marriott, 18 to 28, no boyfriends, no husbands. They were there. My wife would say, "What are you always talking about the Marriott for?" I said, "They give us free rooms. Where's your where's your wedding ring?" Well, it kills my gimmick. I can't wear a wedding ring. I mean, and I wonder why I've been married 4 times.
Oh my God, man.
No, I lived that gimmick. I mean, that 4 horse and shit was real, man. We were me, Arnold. I mean, it's a miracle that Aaron and we almost lost Barry, So, but by the way, he's doing very well.
Yeah.
But we are doing much better. But when we were traveling around with JJ, we'd go out like that Great American Bash, that 46-day straight tour, that 46-day every day tour. We'd start in Philadelphia or Baltimore, right, where we were both very strong then and very competitive with the WWE, and go all the way to California that last week. We'd check into the Tropicana. I'd give the guy $500 to hold the chairs for us. We'd go from Vegas to Albuquerque and back, party all night long. Vegas to Frisco, back, party all night long on the private jet, right? Vegas to L.A., back all night long. Frisco, back all night long, and then we'd fly home and catch one more in Kansas City. I can remember one time I was looking on the plane. I was looking at this thing. I go, God, I'm pinching myself. I don't feel myself. I was having such an anxiety attack, and I had to wrestle Brody. Oh God, somebody slapped me around. But we were sold out every damn night.
Yeah.
and it was insanity. That and but it was the war games. It was with any number of different guys or me in them or me in a singles match for the world title. And man, it was a check by your name, and me, I didn't care. I cut myself every night anyway. But Dusty put the check by your name because a lot of guys didn't like cutting themselves every damn night, right? But the war games, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get killed by Mike Hegstram when he makes the comeback anyway. That was the rib making Mike the last one come in. My God, oh,
I,
he,
I,
he-
I,
Mike was brutal.
I tell you, Rick, you talk about the fun, man, and
Yeah,
man, I tell you, man, I always say this business has been a lot of fun.
yeah,
Uh, I tell you, it's been like so much fun, man. I didn't get into it for the fun. I got into it for the money.
yeah,
Uh, I wanted to make some money. I was a kid who came from humble beginnings, and I
yeah,
found something. I said, man, I'm gonna hold on to this. They're gonna have to kick me out this party.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'll say I'm sticking around as long as I can. But I tell you, I sacrificed a lot, man. I sacrificed a lot. Um, um, because in this business, man, like you say, it's a grind. It,
Wow, it
and it's
is.
and it's lonely at the top. It really is. People don't understand that. It's lonely at the top. You got to be able to entertain yourself when you literally give up everything to do something you love.
Yep.
I was reading one of your quotes, and it's real. It says everyone wants to be on top, but very few are willing to put in the work day in and day out.
Mm.
Talk to me about that quote for a second.
Well, I have help with my social media. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a rocket
Oh
scientist.
no, but that's a true quote,
No,
man.
no, no, no,
That's
no.
what
I
it
know
says.
because the person that works for me has studied my life and my career. But it's like, yeah, I mean, and thank God Booker got married a little bit later in life. He didn't get married young. Because I got married when I was 21 years old, and when I took off in my career, I mean, my wife didn't know. I didn't go. I didn't come home, and we never had an argument. I just wasn't home. And she said, "I can't live like this. You're never here. I mean, you get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's made food for you. You get up in the morning, you work out, you leave at 3 o'clock the next day, and then sometimes you're gone 3 days at a time." Then when I became the world champion, I mean, there were times, guys, when I didn't go home for 3 or 4 months at a time. And when I did go home, it was to Crockett's territory, and I worked every night. I didn't go home for a week vacation. And like I was telling someone the other day, if I was wrestling the Von Erichs, which Book knows a lot about, I had to leave on Christmas Eve. So I wasn't home Christmas Eve. I wasn't home Christmas Day. Same thing if I was wrestling Carlos down in Puerto Rico. They wanted you down there. They wanted you there, like for the Three Kings Day. Now Puerto Rico, I always had a good time, but you talk about me, even the wildest guys in the world aren't getting out of the house on Christmas Eve. So I'm by myself there, and then I'm by myself at the damn Hyatt at the hotel, at the airport at DFW, and it is lonely nights. And back then, there was no cell phones and FaceTiming and shit like that. So you're trying to figure it out. Then just look for the positive of the next day. There's also though, like weeks when I went to Florida for a week, I didn't go to bed for a week. I had so much fun in Florida. I mean, you know, who didn't want to work the Florida territory, man? Good Lord. I don't have a bad memory about the state of Florida. I
Oh
swear to
man,
God. And the
you
Carolinas,
yeah.
my wife would say, "Well, it's only 90 miles to Greensboro. Why are you spending the night?" "Oh, I don't know. I'm having a party. Want to celebrate the man. We're so loud." Just 90 miles. We didn't go home. None of us. Are you kidding me? That was the party, man. After Starrcade, woo woo.
Oh man, uh, you you sacrifice a lot, man. And I, I don't even have to ask the question. Would you do it all over again? Because I think the answer will be yeah.
It would be yes, but I definitely looking back, my documentary brought back so many memories of things I probably did wrong.
Yeah.
But it's 90% on. I mean, a lot of it I just didn't have a choice. When you were the traveling world champion. I figured this out the other day, and I had to have somebody that's no real knowledgeable in the business to look at it. So one year I wrestled 454 times in the 83, I want to say.
Wow.
And of those, 360 of them were hour matches.
Wow.
And in 86, I wrestled Ricky Morton 9 hours in 1 week, 2 weeks in a row. Every day of the week, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, which book knows we did double shots. And then it sold out. So they go, oh, let's bring it back around and do it 90 minutes. So we went like 60 and then we did the finish. Does that make sense? You couldn't just go out and advertise 90 minutes and go 30 minutes. So we did like 60 or 2 or 3 minutes and then we had a finish. But that's a lot of wrestling. And I mean, my hat's off to Ricky Morton because, I used to beat the shit out of him, man. And Morton, I mean, he let me chop him as hard as I could. But he fought back. Ricky's a hell of a hand.
Oh,
It's like Steamboat. I used to hit Steamboat as hard as I possibly could. Because guys like Wahoo were hitting me as hard as they could. I learned a long way. Jack Mulligan slapped me one time so hard working an angle, he almost broke my jaw. I thought I cracked a vertebrae in my neck.
wow.
Yeah,
No,
that,
it had a certain feel back then. I mean,
yeah,
it
that's
was
what it was. It was a lot different than now.
I mean, you look at the matches with you and Harley and you and Dusty and you
Yeah,
and Boat. All of those matches to me have one thing in common. I don't remember a whole lot about the move sets or anything like that, but it felt so real to me watching
yeah,
it. I knew I wanted to. That's what I wanted. I
yeah,
wanted. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted people to remember me. I always
yeah,
said, man, when I was coming up, I said, man, I want my name to be to ring with the greats like, the Nick Bockwinkel's,
yeah,
the Ric Flairs,
yeah,
Harley
yeah,
Races, and the Steamboats. I see Brad want to get in there and ask a question. Go ahead,
Well,
Brad.
I wanted to go off of something that you just said, Rick, about wrestling Ricky Morton for 9 hours a week.
9 hours in 1 week. Yeah,
9 hours in 1 week. I guess my question on that is to be able to put together that amount of wrestling in a single week, you cannot do it like the guys do it today, where they sit and they call pretty much the whole match in the back, right? That's a lot
no,
of
no,
going
no.
out there and feeling the
We never,
crowd.
we never talked about it.
I mean, so how do you? I guess for people who are listening, for guys coming up in the business, if you're going to go a 60-minute match without calling it in the back, like what advice would you give to the guys today? Like how do you do that?
Well, I'm Book and I talk about this. We have not maybe in the last couple of years, but here's the deal. Even with today, right? They spend all day rehearsing, which God bless them. They're all making money. That's the important thing. But you can never predict how the crowd is going to react, and that's why you can't memorize. I could never ever go out with the idea that this was going to take place. Obviously, I knew I was going to be the bad guy, right? That was for sure. But you can't go out there and you just can't go out there and as Book, we can't. I'm never cracking on the business today. It's just where they get it. It's a routine, and they to me they over rehearse it.
Yeah.
And the great ones today, and I'm gonna throw my daughter right into that role. She has learned how to, because one day they like her, one day they don't. That's an unusual situation in this business today. Um, you've got to learn when to, you know, just change it enough so that you're getting the reaction you hopefully want. Because it's so easy to turn the channel now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest enemy. Hey,
Mhm.
I don't like this bullshit. Boom. And that's why it's hard to put on a long match that is going to sustain the viewers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I thought Rhonda and the girl, um, the Spanish girl,
Raquel Rodriguez.
well, I thought they had a hell of a match in the night before Ashley got there. Oh my God. You talk about physical. and I didn't know. I knew Rhonda. Endurance is no problem, but that lady, say it again.
Raquel Rodriguez.
Well, yeah, that was the first time I'd met her, and I just wanted to compliment her. They put on a hell of a match. It looked real, and brother, they were bumping the shit out of each other. And Raquel's in damn good shape. They almost went 25 minutes, Book. You saw it, right?
Missed that one. I missed that, man. I've been doing this NXT stuff, so I've
Oh
been
yeah.
I've been
Holy
busy.
shit.
Man. I've been
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. I know. Well, you got a real job. I don't.
No, no,
Hey,
uh,
the one thing you know about me is I'm gonna be somewhere with it looks like this, but it's gonna have Mick alternate at 5 o'clock. That's the one thing you know for sure about me.
no, you
No, but Raquel Rodriguez and Rhonda, they tore it down. I mean, they really did,
well,
and it showed.
I mean, to piggyback off what Brad just asked to you, Rick, I put myself in that same position for a second because I remember when I was coming up, I got a chance to wrestle with Steamboat, and I knew the
Yeah,
history you and Steamboat had. I wrestled with Steamboat in Germany, right? And it
yeah.
was we wrestled 20 minutes, and I did
I,
not
I was on that tour with you.
I did not say one word, and
Yeah,
Steve chopped me up
yeah,
and sent me off, and all I had to do was just listen.
yeah,
But he told me when I had the keys, and if I didn't know how to drive, trust me, he was going to take those keys away from me.
yeah,
I was driving when he gave
yeah,
them to me,
yeah.
and I remember getting a chance to Henning and got a chance to work with Savage, but I got a chance to work with Ric Flair in center stage. And this was a highlight for me, and I was always wondering why was I getting a chance to work with the legends of the business. I was like, man, this has got to be a reason. Something's happening here. I would
Yeah.
always go home thinking that, and I remember getting in the ring with you, and the only thing we had was I knew I was getting a figure 4 leg lock. That's it. That's the only thing I knew in the match. And during that match, I learned so much in such little time. It was like
Yeah.
job training. I remember at one point, Rick, you was putting your hand up to me like this, and you did
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same time.
yeah,
Okay, I know what that means. Go ahead. Let me
yeah,
in the instinct. I learned so much from watching Ric Flair as far as being able to talk just like you and I are talking right now
yeah.
in the middle of that ring in front of 20, 30, 50,
Well,
100,000 people.
how about the time he and I we didn't talk at all. Book and I never talked about a match. And we went to Denver one night. I blew up so bad in the first 5 minutes. I said, Book, I said, man, grab a hold on me here, man. I got to catch my head. You remember that? Jesus Christ, that
But
mile high shit. I don't know how those goddamn hockey players who go in there one day and football. It's got to be an advantage for
oh,
the home
I,
team.
I tell you, I learned so much from the veterans. I learned so much from being in there with them, just watching them through the curtain. I honored just a couple of weeks ago Black Bart,
Yeah,
Texas legend. We honored him at Reality of Wrestling because I peeked out the curtain so many times watching Black Bart do his work, and I learned
yeah,
so much
yeah,
from Black Bart. And I say that because you know I could say something about a young wrestler today on social media and trying to give them a little bit of constructive criticism, and they'll come back on me and eat me up like they
yeah.
know
I
well
know.
much more than I do about this business. And God bless them. Hopefully their careers they end up like you and I, two-time Hall
Yeah,
of Famer.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They, they, they
big
won't.
houses, big houses, big cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Eat
Hey, hey,
eat
they
eat
won't. They
eat
won't. They
eat
won't.
and baked potato every
Yeah.
day. But what do you think about the that right there? Like with social media, you try to help and you get it like thrown back in your face like you've never done it before. What do you think about that?
Well, I've learned my lesson. It doesn't do any good. I mean, and people say to me, well, he's a prick. He won't help anybody. Everybody I've given the advice to that's asked me, right? And people have been very polite. And asked me 100 times. Especially when I was traveling with Ashley a lot, the young guys. But they take my opinion, which I fucking pretty much know what I'm talking about, and then they get in the car or they walk up the ramp and they either look and see what the mark said about it, or they talk to another guy who's got as much experience as him or less, and
Yeah,
that's who they go with.
yeah,
God forbid I know anything. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I could critique these matches they're having now. I mean, it just it's hard, but it's not worth the aggravation. Number one,
yeah,
number two, my daughter works there. I'm not going to say anything except positive things. And first of all, just to be in wrestling, I tell this to Booker T. Here's the thing about wrestling that nobody gets, and it's a real lesson in life. The other night we witnessed what was a real tragedy with the football player, right?
yeah.
And
Mark,
the NFL made, I mean, they made the most awesome call I've ever seen watching NFL. They stopped the game. I mean, and they thought about it and went back out, and they actually gave that young man, I mean, so much respect and his family, and they made themselves look good. In our business, where guys are jumping off a goddamn top rope on tables, ladders, chairs, and shit, right? Somebody gets hurt, the show goes on. It's the most insensitive business in the world. It, but there's no one person to blame for it. It's just wrestling. We've let it. We as wrestlers have let that happen.
yes, we have.
We have, we
Yeah,
have. But do you know you know how many times people came to me and Hogan in the '80s and said, "Let's unionize"? How many times do you think people have asked me to walk out?
yeah,
And how many times do you think they asked Hulk to walk out? But you know what? You know why we didn't? We would have been replaced. Number one, been
yeah,
blackballed. Number two,
yeah,
and number three, don't think you can't be replaced. You couldn't. You everybody can be replaced.
yeah,
But it's our own fault we don't have that. But I mean, it's just it's not one person that makes the decisions. We have ourselves to blame for it.
yeah. It's
Because have you ever heard of a show being pulled, except for when Benoit passed away?
right.
I mean, that was you were there, right? In
Yeah,
Corpus Christi,
yeah.
right?
I was there.
Yeah. I mean, it took something that drastic to pull the show, and it just don't happen. Guys get hurt, man. The show goes on.
Well, the guys
But
today,
we've done it to ourselves, though.
yeah, yeah. Just think about it. Let's talk about that. With these young guys today that are so willing to just jump off anything,
Anything,
and,
and half of them are good enough athletes to be doing it.
and the thing is, I mean, I got to bring his name up, even though I mean, because we're talking serious talk right here. And
Yeah,
the one guy I always preached to was Big E. I,
yeah,
s- I said, Big E, man, don't stop jumping through the ropes, bro. Stop doing that. And then he didn't get hurt on that, but he got hurt on a belly suplex to the floor.
yeah.
Right.
But you know what's worse about that though, book? Number one, Big E's 300 pounds. I just had this conversation today.
Exactly my point.
The agent that they didn't just call that out there. The agent approved it,
I feel that
and
way too. Yeah.
and a kid that has never done that is giving a guy a belly to belly on the floor. I'll tell you who gives me a belly to belly on the floor: Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, two
That
guys that have done it and can do
no,
it. Kurt Angle, Kurt Angle could give me a belly to belly off the balcony of my condo here.
that's exactly what I'm talking about, Rick. As far as everybody, I had a student. I do a thing called fantasy camp, right?
Yeah,
It's a bunch of kids, and I'm just to talk about the way the kids think these days. I had this kid, and we were talking about the state of wrestling today, and we were talking about intergender wrestling. And,
mhm,
and I said, me personally, I don't think intergender wrestling will ever make it to the big screen or anything
yeah,
like that. I say, but I do think it's good sometimes, like on the independent scene, because there are less good girl workers than it is good guy workers. I say it's going to be more
yeah,
guys out there. It might be bigger girls, may not be as many smaller girls. I say so. It's a good tool. And then one of the kids say, well. And he's a fantasy camper. He's never been in the business. He's never taken a real bump or anything like that. He goes, Book, I have to disagree with you. This is a kid, 20, maybe 20
Yeah.
years old. He said, I have to disagree with you. He said, because wrestling today, when women can beat men, men can beat women because it's wrestling. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. And I go, wow. I literally wanted to kick him out.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw him.
But he's a mark. He's a
I
mark.
want to throw him out because that's where the business has gotten today, to where everybody think, just because they're got a pair of boots on, they can do a suplex, they can do a body slam, they can go out and create what we have, and that ticks me off more than anything.
Yeah.
I just think
But that's the mindset, though, Book. And guys like you and I, we're rebels for saying it's bullshit.
Well, I remember working with Triple H.
Yeah.
And you, Rick, you take the best backdrops in the world. Okay. I used to love watching how you used to float over and take that backdrop.
Guys don't even take them anymore.
Exactly my point. I was working with Triple H one day, and he went to throw me off, and he called backdrop, and I held on to that rope so hard. I'm not taking this backdrop.
A lot of guys don't like taking backdrops, man.
My point is, you got to be able to speak up.
Yeah.
You got to be able to. I was talking to a kid just a couple of days ago, and he was asking me the same questions as far as how do I speak up when it's something I don't want to do in the ring.
Yeah.
And I say, and he was trying to give me give him a scenario how to do it. And I go, there is no scenario. You just got to say, hey, I
don't do it.
With doing that, but these kids today, they are willing to try anything because they want to be the next Ric Flair.
Yeah.
They want to
But
be
see, the next Ric Flair, I'm not saying I couldn't do it. I mean, obviously, I've been in ladder matches, and that was Edge. But Edge did all the work. I just took the bumps. I can always take the bumps. When I'm in a match like that, I don't do anything to anybody because I don't know how to do it. I wouldn't even push Edge over in the ladder when I had that match with him because I didn't want to be responsible for him not being able to catch the rope and end up on the goddamn guardrail. I said, "You give me anything you want." And I really enjoyed it. I had fun with him. And it's something I can say I did. And then I did it with Matt Hardy, and I said, "No," I'm going to take. They wanted me to get out early, and I said, I looked around the room. I said, Matt, you're the only guy here I trust. So I let him suplex me off the top of the ladder. But that's just another bump.
Yeah.
Bumps are easy to take.
Yeah.
It's when you're giving these guys. I mean, I can remember. And God is not talking bad about Ivan, one of my best friends. But back in the 70s, Ivan Koloff gave me just a regular, not a German, regular, right? It landed on the back of my head. I can still remember it. And because of one really bad one like that, I didn't get ultimately hurt real bad. I actually for a little while sat down and guys wanted to give it to me. I mean, I took it, but I didn't jump up like I used to and go, that makes sense?
Yeah.
Because once you have one bad one like that, then you start thinking. And I mean, I think I took I took a lot of what I call control bumps, where when Sting would press me, I knew Sting could do it. Luger would press me. I mean, I had Steamboat press on me. I knew the guys that could do it and the guys that couldn't. But everybody wanted to try. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you give yourself to them, but man, if they don't put you down right, it's no fun.
Well, that's what I was just I was making observant I was observing something just a couple of weeks ago, and something happened, and I made a comment on it, and it was about somebody being a little bit more safe. Let's try to, and I got ate up on social media about it, and that's what I'm talking about. For me, I always was a guy that was wanting to make sure that whoever I was working with was going to get home safe. Now we was going to go out there and beat each other up. It was going to get stiff. There's no way you can go out and work with Harley Race and it don't get stiff. You know what I mean? But you guys, like you said, everything was a controlled violence. It was a controlled.
Yeah.
Everything
it was solid, but it was controlled.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
And today's
and by the way, just I have to jump in because Booker will like this. If Harley Race walked into the locker room today, and I don't give a shit what guy, name a guy in the roster. I don't give a shit. Harley would go, listen to every word I say and don't open your fucking mouth, or the match will be over before it's supposed to be. and, and that's the way it fucking was.
Hey,
And you went at his pace.
and trust me, if you listened,
To this day, if he walked in, everybody be going, "Oh my god!" It's like
hey,
that's what
if
he carried, man.
if you listened, you
He
was gonna
was
have
the
a good match.
real world champion.
You was gonna have a good match. You was gonna have a good match if you just listened, though.
Yeah,
That's
but if you didn't listen, you were back. I told you. I told you
is it
not
the
to move.
is it the difference? You think back in the day we was working for our fans,
Yeah.
and today I think the wrestlers working for their followers.
Being social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I,
Yeah.
I think
And they
that.
think they're cute when they go off. When they go off cue, they think they're cute. Oh, I did something cute.
No, and the reason I
Patting
say
themselves on the back. I mean, it's
the reason I say that is because we work for the fans. I remember Dusty always talked about the promo and what the promo
yeah,
and the person you're working with, the town you're going to be working in, the arena that you're going to
yeah,
be working at, you know what I mean, and why the hell are we having this fight, you know what I
yeah,
mean, which
yeah,
people
yeah.
come into that arena, and today seem like
He was
guys.
he was special too, man.
Oh, he was special. I learned so much from Dusty.
You talk about charisma. You know where he got all that from? Thunderbolt Patterson.
Wow.
Did you ever hear Thunderbolt talk?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Look at Thunderbolt and listen to Dusty.
Same guy.
We all learn from someone. Thunderbolt was he was a talking son of a bitch, man. I mean, unbelievable. I can remember. Can I interrupt for 1 minute? Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
But, Thunderbolt was a little out there, but he was a talented guy, and he was over in the Carolinas like nobody. But he didn't like to bleed, so the Andersons, but Gene Anderson held him down one night and said, "Bolt, sorry I got to do this to you." And he took the blade and cut Bolt, and you'd have thought that he was going to the ER. He was screaming, "Ah!" I mean, this is a guy who's the most charismatic guy in the world, a man and a half. I mean, Bolt was a man, but man, the times are just different. I mean,
I hated bleeding too. I hated
uh,
bleeding too. I,
huh?
I bled once
Yeah.
my whole career, and after that, I used to make an excuse every time it came up. After that, I would say, "Man, the blood looked better on the white guys."
Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey. They had me cut Sheldon Benjamin one night too. I said, Sheldon, hold still,
The only
hold still.
I mean, Abdullah, he did it good, and Devon.
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing it up for all the black guys. Are you
I
kidding
think
me?
Devon was trying to end up looking like Abdullah.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, I
Devon,
used to I
Devon
used
couldn't.
to travel the Caribbean with Abdullah. He was a trip, man.
Oh
You,
man,
you
I can
talk
imagine.
about some blood. It would be me and somebody against, or me and Abdullah against Carlos Colon and somebody else over. And you talk about some blood. Carlos could bleed
Oh
too, man.
my God,
I mean,
man.
the ring. You couldn't recognize the ring cover.
Both of those guys. That's what wrestling back then. It was different. And the thing is,
No,
I
no
know,
shit.
I know, I know everything. I know everything has to evolve. That's just the way life is. Life is about.
He lost a leg to diabetes.
I know it. I know
Yeah,
he actually
yeah.
lost both.
What's that?
He lost both.
He lost both legs.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. I knew. Oh my, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, no,
He,
the business is hard. Business is rough. I always talk about that. Always have been the hardest part
yeah,
about this business. Having friends, having guys that we've gone through the trenches with in those wars.
yeah,
Of course, Rick. I mean, the golden age. Like I said, the golden age of wrestling is well behind us. But
yeah.
you are that one guy that still are jet flying, limousine ride. kid stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun.
And this time I can afford to do it.
Exactly.
Hey, come on.
Hey, look,
You gotta fake it till you make it, man.
I'm happy to report that all my credit cards are working. That's a first.
Oh man.
That may be a first in a long time.
The documentary, definitely is
Yeah,
something.
you were the best. He gave up everything to do what he wanted to fucking do. That's the greatest line I ever heard.
That's the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Rick.
No, I've got to tell the co-host here. So I said, "Look, you want to see the teaser of my documentary?" He said, "Fuck no, I made it." We were in New York. I said, "Look at this! I just got a trailer." He goes, "Fuck, I don't need to look at it. I made it." It was already said he would- so
Sounds like
much,
something he would say.
so much of my documentary was book. He said, "Fuck it, I made it. I don't need to see it again."
Oh man,
But let me ask though about the doc. Like, is it for you? Did you when you first saw it and you got to see the things that people were saying about you? I mean, what was kind of going through your mind? Like, were you worried about what people were going to say? Were you excited to see what people were going to say? Because I know Booker, you had to go through that with your doc. You're like you didn't know what people were going to say. So for you, Rick, what was your kind of thought process on that?
Well, God, I'm thrilled. I mean, we all can go like we're wrestling. We're all telling ourselves we're the greatest of all time, right? But when you hear people talk about you in that light, and especially for some reason, I have a big crossover demographic appeal, which I'm very proud of. And the first guy to call me was Lance Armstrong, and then Diplo. I just talked to Diplo the other day. He called me. So I mean, and I've always had a great relationship with the black community and my brothers, whatever. And I mean, anytime people like that at that level in life talk about well, first of all, to answer your question, when you accept that opportunity, you know there's going to be some people saying the wrong things, right? I mean, I watched it. I thought, well, Bishop, you're still just an arrogant prick. You know what I mean? And that started a little bit of a deal between him. I mean, it means nothing, but it's like, and I go, why would you put that fucking shit in there? And they go, well, we wanted to show people to see what you were up against. But it actually pissed me off. It brought me back because it was such a bad time in life for him. Book knows. Book and I talk about it all the time.
yeah.
How he got away with murder. But I mean, I'm not going to talk about him anymore. But I was very happy with it. And you know what? The best part of it for me was, I don't want to get emotional, but some of those pictures of my son, I have never seen. I mean, I was there obviously for him, right? But my wife, I've never seen him. Ashley's mom and Reed's mom. So she gave him to the company to make. I had never seen him.
Wow.
Little wrestling ones and that, and he's that I cried during that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I was happy and I felt like everybody was very, very fair with me. You know, Bruce Pritchard said I didn't get over in the WWE. I didn't in '91. No one knew who the fuck I was. And that's probably why, if you look at it, people ask me the question, why didn't wrestle Hogan at WrestleMania? I've heard 1,000 different reasons. I didn't give a shit. But you think we drew money everywhere, but on the West Coast, I died. And we didn't sell out Madison Square Garden. They didn't know who I was. I was the guy that the NWA was so far removed from any recognition on cable TV was very weak, or the Turner saturation when I got there in '90 or '91, right? But I mean, it was still for me. It was just getting away from Jim Herd, and I'm traveling with Ted DiBiase, Kurt, the Road Warriors. I mean, working with Hulk, and we sold out a lot of buildings. Don't misunderstand me, but they expected everything to be more than sold out. And I think at that time, because of all that shit going on with the steroid trial and all that, I think that they were strapped for cash. I mean, they had to be spending a lot of money in defense of that deal. So, but it didn't matter. I'm the first. Bruce didn't make me mad. People would say to me, "Aren't you mad at Bruce Pritchard?" I just saw him the other day. I said, "Motherfucker, you didn't have to say it quite as loud and clear, did you?" You didn't have to make it that fucking obvious.
It's wrong.
And but number two, I never thought I was going up to be the number one guy. I already knew it was Hogan.
Oh,
I
man.
just wanted to get the hell out of the WCW. God. And now it's sometimes I wish I'd never come back.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
but Hulk,
No,
it seems
wait,
like
no, hold on a second. I just to cut you out there for 1 second. Rick, I never told you. We've never really talked about it or anything like that. That kid Reed, that kid used to love me, man.
Oh, I know he did. He
I
did.
don't know if you knew that or not. How much you knew?
I know. Are you kidding? He loved the
That
gimmick.
kid
He
used to
loved it.
follow me everywhere.
He followed you around like you owed him money. I know.
I swear he was like my kid, man. And
Yeah.
I
I
just,
tell you, he loved Booker. He loved the Nasty Boys.
I swear, man.
Yeah.
And I miss that kid, man. I miss him.
He thought, oh God, me too, man. It'll be 10 years in March, huh? Time flies, huh? It about killed me, guys. I'm not shitting you.
Oh, I know it. I already know. I was there with you.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, aside from being sick 5 years ago, that I never drank so much in my entire life.
I know it. I know it. I was there with you.
Yeah.
I was there with you.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I can't apologize for that because I didn't know what else to do. Either drink or kill myself.
You know
Because
what? I remember
no,
coming
because
to the you know what?
no, because his mom blamed it on me because he was on my watch, and the truth was he was on my watch. But I mean, I let him out of my sight for 2 hours to go buy some Nike tennis shoes. He loved, right? The only time he was out of my sight, and somehow in the 2 hours he got hooked up, and that because we were sitting there, I was watching Villanova play somebody in the NCAA finals, Del Frisco's. He left with Wendy. Wendy went to bed. I came back, knocked on the door. What was happening? I was buying a new home, and had just moved out of this real tricked out apartment I had, and I just bought a new house, so I was staying at the Residence Inn in the suite, and I was there for 2 months. So that's why I was at that hotel, and I went in to check on him, and there he was. And I've seen him like it 1,000 times. I mean, I wish I could say I'm embellishing. I've seen him like it 100 times.
Yeah.
But it seems like 1,000. So I just put him in bed. I was so mad. I mean, it's so spot on, it's so real. I got up in the morning, went over and met my daughter, which she talks about in the documentary. And I said, I don't even know whether I should take him to WrestleMania. That's why he came back from Japan. And she said, Dad, you got this thing about kicking with a curb. That's overrated too. That statement. Yeah, you just can't kick your kid to the curb.
Yeah.
And have him die somewhere you don't know where he is, right? So I was told that 1,000 times. You should have kicked him to the curb. You would have learned, right? No, really? So, but I went back, opened the door, and man, this same exact medical team that had been there 5 times, guys. He had been airlifted from a small hospital in Charlotte to the big one. They're talking about this young man in the hospital. Think about this. The last time he was on life support, he was on life support 4 different times before he died. The last time his oxygen level was 42 for 12 hours.
Wow.
The doctor called me in. He said, "We'll call the family in because if he wakes up, he'll be brain dead." So now I've already died there. I think I left and got a 6-pack right there because I got to go back to the family room and tell everybody what's going on. So that was really hard. And then he woke up and there's not a goddamn thing wrong with him.
Wow.
It's like he just sat up and went, what's going on? And I looked at him and the doctor looked at me and went, he actually pulled me aside. He said, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
Wow.
He shouldn't be able to think, much less be normal.
Wow.
Time before that, on life support, he woke up, he couldn't use his right leg for 6 months. So, I mean, these are stories I haven't shared with anybody.
Wow.
But since the subject's coming up,
I appreciate it, man.
We've been through we've been through some shit. I mean, I put him in rehab. I mean, here here's how slick he was. Book. I've never told this story. So he's in Sierra, Tucson, right? And Eddie DiBartello, right?
Yeah.
His daughter was there. So Beth asked his mom and asked to go to visit him, and he's having lunch with her, the four of them. So Beth calls me and said he's met a friend there. I go, okay. So how is this? I'm already my wheels are already turning. He's slick.
Yeah.
Like, it's my kid, okay? So from there, he's supposed to fly. I buy him a ticket and all this. US Air, I got all set up. He's supposed to fly from there to Denver to go to another rehab center where they climb mountains and all that to help him rehab his leg and all that, right? Okay, I get it. It's called, I can't think of it. Sierra Tucson was in Tucson. I can't think of the name of the one in Denver, but and then the funny thing was it's not cost effective because he had not signed the WWE contract. So this is all, and these guys don't take credit cards, just cash. So we're talking about 60 grand a pop. So I get a phone call from my friend at the airline and said Reed didn't make the flight. I said, what do you mean he didn't make the flight? He didn't show up for the flight. Because I'm tracking him. I'm a professional tracker at this point. I got a private eye checking him out. And thank God, John Collins, I call him Rambo. And so I can't find him for 2 days. Now I think, oh my God, he's killing me. He went and shacked up at the Marriott with the chick for 2 days. he just walked out, shacked up with the chick for 2 days, and then called me and said, "Dad, I missed my plane." I said, "Oh no shit, where the
Right.
fuck are you?" No shit, you 2 days you missed the plane. Where are you? And then he showed up, got in the plane and went. But I mean,
Wow.
yeah,
I think,
that's a lot, right?
yeah, man, it is. It's hard, man.
No, I mean, I can laugh about it now, but it wasn't funny back then, man.
I tell you, man,
When I found out, when I realized how bad it was,
that
all he ever wanted to wear was my dad's Rolex watch. And so Beth said, "We're not give it to him. He'll do something." I said, "Well, never, never." He wanted that Rolex watch so bad. So finally, I talked Beth into giving it to him, and I couldn't find him for 5 days. And then there's nothing worse than not being able to find your child. I mean, you watch these shows on TV, right?
yeah, yeah.
No, this guy that worked for me kicked down the door of a place, off duty. He's a cop, off duty cop, and there he was. The watch was gone. He sold the watch to buy drugs.
God.
That's when I knew we had a problem.
Yeah.
That's bad. In heroin is not. It's not an addiction. It's a disease.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, that's basically what the resolve that the doctor kept telling me. But then you spend 4 years, trying to figure out how to forgive yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the spouse, it's your fault. I mean, I had to live with that.
Yeah.
That's when they put me in rehab, and the guy goes, what?" So I finally at rehab. I didn't want to share what was bothering me. Finally, one day I just read the text she sent me, and they went, "Oh my God, no wonder you're drinking." Yeah, no shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
still drinking.
Hey, man, I can.
No, after seeing that, I mean, it's almost like I had to relive it again. It's that close.
I mean, just to share with you, I can feel. Somewhat what you're going through, Rick, because unlike you, I mean, I didn't lose my son the way you lost your son. I mean, but I don't know if you remember me bringing my son around when in WCW back in the day. Uh, 35 now, and
Your son's still living, right?
yeah, but
Oh yeah, gosh.
but I lost him too. He ended up doing the same thing I did when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Getting locked up, and he's got like 30 years. And
He is now.
yeah, and
He's serving time now.
yeah,
I didn't know that. Fuck, I'm
You know,
sorry, man.
it was in my documentary that they did on A&E. I mean, I could talk about it, because when you're out there on the road, you think you're doing the right thing, and then my son, he had to walk in my footsteps. He had to
Yeah,
live up to that. I'm sure it was tough. I'm sure it was tough, and I still talk to him. I'm still supporting him now. But trust me, I know exactly. Uh,
yeah, it's hard. They're
what
trying to walk in the footsteps of somebody that's all he wanted. And that I had never seen that piece where he's talking about me either, because that was all brand new, because they were going to put that in the I think they did that a long time ago, and they were going to put it in the ESPN documentary. And so I'd never seen that where he's talking about me and all that. But I mean, we were like this. His book knows. I took him everywhere, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
I took him to Japan to wrestle in the nationals. I mean, we were, you know, you, anyway. I'm not complaining. I didn't mean to change the
Oh
momentum.
man, no, heck no. I just want to go there, man, because
Yeah,
you can talk to me about. It's like when I see Rick, no matter what anybody else say to him, I'm gonna say what I feel, because I
yeah,
love
look, yeah. Why
about
not?
you're my guy, and I'm gonna just tell it like it is. Uh, you know, there's so many people. It's just like I just had a match a couple of weeks ago. I just wrestled at Reality Wrestling.
Yeah,
And you get those people that say, "Man, why you still doing that?" Man, I do it because I love it.
yeah.
I got a
That's
lot.
exactly. And by the way, it's none of your fucking business why I'm doing it.
Exactly. That's the point right there. I got a saying. How you gonna tell a man? He can't do what he
Yeah,
wants.
and when you got a physique right now that's better than half the guys on the goddamn roster at WWE, do what the fuck you want to do. Me, I can. I'm a little bit different cosmetically. If I had a physique like yours, I'd have another last match next week. Yeah, I swear I would.
No, what do you tell those young people, man, that are Twitter fingers? What I tell them is, you better hope you wake up one day in the position that I'm in.
Yeah,
That's what I tell them.
yeah.
You better hope you live as long as I do. And there again, you better hope one day you can finish it and do it the way you want to do it more than anything. What would you tell that young person, Rick?
I would say you're few and far between. And yeah, I would just say you wish. But then you say you wish to the wrong person, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's being a dick.
Yeah,
It-
yeah,
but
it's true.
it's the truth. You wish.
I got a chance.
Hell, I want to live 10 more years. I'll make another documentary about me. Hey! Now I'm selling weed. Ric Flair drip go wooing a
Oh
bitch.
yeah, brother. I knew about the trip. I knew all about that trip, man. Oh my
Did you boys sell the weed? I hadn't smoked a joint since I was in college, right? And it's nothing. I just didn't like it. I mean, it made me a little paranoid even. But man, now I'm working with Mike, and I see Mike about once a month, and
yeah.
he's always going, "Come on, you pussy, smoke one." So I smoked one. I smoked one with him, but we made it was on national. It went viral.
I think I
But
saw.
brother, I couldn't feel my hands. I go. I mean, I smoked the whole damn thing, man, and it's called the infused shit.
Yeah, you don't want
I
to
didn't
do
know where I was.
those,
I
man.
didn't know where I was.
Yeah, that
I
close
go,
leaf and all. You
uh,
don't want to. You don't want to be smoking.
Mike is rough. Mike is rough, man. Mike can go.
Oh man, Rick, I could talk to you all day, man. I really could, man. I'm serious, man.
This is good. At least I came through electronically this time.
Yeah, right.
you got the system there, man. You got your own show. You got to be right there,
No,
man.
I know. I got to pay a lot of money to have her come over here and work.
Hey,
She
bro.
just doesn't show for nothing.
Like you said,
I,
you
I,
got
I was listening to Rick's podcast this week, and he said one of the funniest things I think I've ever heard in the history of wrestling podcast. They're asking him, hey, after a night of nature at the Marriott, what do you have to do? He said, "I need 3 maids with $100 tip."
A piece.
A piece.
Put the room back together.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life.
Hell yeah. And help me find my Rolex watch, damn it all. God, one night, had some hoodoo girls in my room, and I took my Rolex off, and I took the cushion out of a chair, right? And then zipped the cushion and put the Rolex in there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
woke up in the morning, I couldn't find it. I thought somebody stole it again. I missed a flight and back to Atlanta. That's some serious shit.
Oh my God, man. That's a no for all you wannabe players out there. Make sure you hide your jewelry.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't want anybody to grow up and be the nature boy.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
Oh man, that's a lesson right there. Like I said, all you want to be players. Yeah, jewelry. Remember where you hid it.
Yeah.
That's the deal right there.
Exactly.
Oh man.
And be sure you have a backup in case you lose it, because you got to go home for Thanksgiving and no one's going to say, "Where's your Rolex?"
Gotta go home. Gotta go home. You always gotta go home. Man, I'm gonna let you get out of here, Rick. Man, I just want to tell you, man.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate you stepping inside the Hall of Fame, giving us a little bit of your time, taking us down that road of life more than anything, man. Because
Well, I know I can tell you this right now: the road of life is going to lead me to you in Philadelphia.
brother,
Then, unfortunately, I'm coming to the Royal Rumble.
you know what?
Oh, yeah.
It did.
Oh, hell yeah.
WrestleMania is upon us.
I know, but I mean, you're going to see a lot of me now. I'm back in.
Hey, brother, let's get
Yeah,
ready.
me and Hunter hugged. We made up. I'm back in, man. No getting rid of the Nate.
Well, I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks, dear.
Bye, guys.
Reserve my spot at the bar, bro. Hey, man,
Woo! I'll send you the emojis when I land.
I love you, brother. Thanks for
Love you
stepping
guys.
Thank you, Rick.
Hey, and don't tell me you're in some goddamn gym working out. Get your workout in before you leave. Get your workout in before you leave.
I'll be there. And like my thing is, man, no matter what time I get there, even if I'm late, I'm always on time.
Yeah, I know. Because, hey, I know exactly what he drinks too, so I have it waiting for him.
Get a couple Jack and Cokes ready.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No, whoa, Jack and Diet Coke. Go on.
There you go. He's
Get
watching
the
his
shit
figure.
down right now. Yeah, he's cut out the sugar.
Like I said, I'm waiting on my invitation. I love you, brother.
Love you guys.
Thank you, Rick.
Man.
God bless. Bye.
You dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.